Welcome back to Euro Football Daily. Today we're looking at 10 times football clubs massively downgraded in one way or another. Here we go. 10. David Moyes replaces Alex Ferguson. In 1986, a struggling Man United appointed the 45-year-old Aberdeen manager Alex Ferguson. Over his 26-year stint, Fergie won 38 trophies, including 13 Premier League titles, 5 FA Cups and 2 Champions Leagues. In 2013, following a final league win, Sir Alex retired, leaving some impossible boots to fill. Under Ferguson's own recommendation, David Moyes took his place in the Old Trafford dugout. Moyes, who had optimistically signed a 6-year contract, looked out of his depth straight away. He aimed for world-class talents in the transfer window in Fabregas and Bale and ended up shelling out nearly £30 million for Fellaini on deadline day, when they could have signed him for £23 million 4 weeks earlier. With the club 13 points off 4th place with 4 games to go, having won just 52% of his games, Moyes was relieved of his duties. This made the Scotsman the shortest-serving United manager for 82 years, as they gave it to Giggsy till the end of the season. United's managerial downgrade not only ruined Moyes' career, but also caused the club to go into meltdown. In the years since Fergie's departure, United have finished 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th and 2nd, and are on to their 3rd manager. With Guardiola's all-conquering City side continuing to redefine what we thought was possible across the city, that doesn't look like changing anytime soon. 9. Lambert and Balotelli replace Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez joined the most lethal attack in world football when he transferred to Barcelona in 2014. A front three of Messi, Neymar and Suarez ended their first season with a combined total of 122 goals, the most in La Liga history. Despite Suarez's terrible disciplinary record, he was a massive loss to Liverpool. With over 100 Premier League goals and more than 30 in his final season, the Reds had a gaping hole in their attack. But don't worry, as they filled the void with none other than Southampton frontman Ricki Lambert. Liverpool received just under £65 million for the Uruguay export and decided to spend £4 million on a 32-year-old Lambert and another £16 on Mario Balotelli to fix the goal deficit. Over the course of their first season, they added 3 goals to the Reds' total, not quite in the same league as their predecessor. A year on and Ricki Lambert had left for West Brom, where he scored just once in 20 appearances, while Balotelli was shipped out on loan to Milan after his poor discipline was the only similarity with the 103-capped Uruguayan. 8. Bosnich replaces Peter Schmeichel. Over Ferguson's reign in Manchester, he became a legend of the game, but signings like Bebe confirmed that the Scotsman did occasionally struggle in the marketplace. One particularly sticky position Fergie struggled to fill was between the sticks, following the departure of Peter Schmeichel. The Dane spent 8 years at Old Trafford after being picked up for £500,000 in 1991, a move named by his manager as the bargain of the century. Amazingly, Big Pete kept a clean sheet in 43% of the games he played in red. Virtually a stone wall on the goal line, he helped United win 5 Premier League titles as well as a Champions League. Schmeichel's successor was Mark Bosnich, who definitely didn't fill out the #1 shirt in the same way. Having grown up in Australia, Bosnich joined Man United's youth side at 17 years old, before he found himself off their roster and playing for Aston Villa, where they probably should have left him. Instead, they signed him again to replace their legendary stopper. Bosnich lasted 1 season as United's top choice before Fergie said enough was enough. But at least Bosnich goes down in history with Richard Wright as one of the worst keepers to get his hands on an English title. 7. Almunia replaces Jens Lehmann. From one goalkeeper conundrum to the next, clearly finding a stopper can be troubling even to the top managers. Pep Guardiola took his time to find the ball-playing Ederson, while Jurgen Klopp is hoping Alisson will be the answer between the sticks in Merseyside. And Arsene Wenger was a long-suffering victim of the keeping curse. Arsenal have recently been synonymous with calamitous defending, but back in the noughties, Jens Lehmann was at the back of an invincible defence. But then the German stopper said goodbye and left for Stuttgart in 2008, with Manuel Almunia stepping into his place. While his career started well, he didn't stay at the top of the pecking order for long, and quickly became 3rd choice behind Fabianski and Szczesny. All 3 mediocre keepers proved to be such woeful replacements that Wenger was forced to sign Lehmann back again in 2011. Gooners thought their goalkeeping nightmare was over for good when they signed Chelsea legend Petr Cech. But with the lowest number of clean sheets in Wenger's tenure in 17-18, it looks more dire than ever. And with Wenger now watching from an armchair, it's a problem left for Unai Emery to solve. 6. Aquilani replaces Alonso. The coolest man in football, Xabi Alonso left Liverpool in 2009, having made 143 appearances and won an FA Cup and a Champions League. But just hours after Alonso had passed his medical at Real Madrid, Liverpool had filled his boots. they announced the signing of Roma's Alberto Aquilani for £18 million. Despite being cast as a direct replacement for the deep-lying playmaker, Aquilani actually preferred playing further forward than the Spaniard. While he played 18 times in his first season, once Roy Hodgson took over from Benitez, Aquilani was written onto the transfer list and didn't make another appearance. He was sent on loan to Juventus, Milan and Sassuolo and has since been signed for Fiorentina, Sporting Pescara and Las Palmas. Meanwhile, Alonso went on to win 4 league titles, another Champions League and a World Cup. He wrapped up his illustrious career, which has seen him represent 3 of the biggest clubs in England, Spain and Germany, and win 114 caps for La Roja in the summer of 2017. 5. The London Stadium replaces Upton Park. Coming in halfway through is a slightly different downgrade, but one that has potentially had the biggest impact. When West Ham moved from Upton Park to the London Stadium, they doubled their capacity from 35,000 to 60, without forking out the big bucks that Arsenal and Spurs have had to. But it has come at a huge cost. Unlike their London rivals who are all spending big on home improvements, the Hammers actually rented the arena at a very reasonable price, a factor really only pleasing the boardroom. The move to Stratford has devastated the West Ham faithful, who don't feel at home in the Olympic Stadium. The results can also be seen on the pitch, with the move corresponding directly with the Hammers' drop in form. The uninspiring appointment of David Moyes, followed by back-to-back 4-1 defeats to Liverpool and Swansea and a 3-0 loss to Burnley at home, saw tempers flare, and ugly scenes as supporters invaded the pitch, hurling abuse at the owners. The Scotsman averaged a win percentage of just 29%, but did manage to get West Ham out of a relegation battle and into 13th before Golden Sullivan gave him his P45. The appointment of Manuel Pellegrini for the 18-19 season and an interesting transfer window means that things are looking up at Stratford, and hopefully the Olympic Stadium will start to feel more like home. 4. Arda Turan replaces Xavi. La Masia graduate Xavi spent 18 years playing in Barcelona. Over 700 matches, he scored 82 goals and assisted 180 times to 50 different teammates. A trophy cabinet's bursting with 8 La Liga titles and 4 Champions League wins, Xavi has been widely acknowledged as one of the world's greatest central midfielders and the puppet master of Barca's tiki-taka playing style. When he left for Doha in 2015, the Blaugrana signed Turkey captain Arda Turan to take up the mantle. After 4 campaigns with Atletico, Barca spent over €40 million to bring him to the Nou Camp to help bolster a midfield that now boasted a huge hole. To be fair, at least Turan called it first. When he arrived in Barcelona, he stated that he was not there as Xavi's replacement, who in his eyes was irreplaceable. And he was correct. Turan had signed a 5-season-long contract with the club but went on to make just 36 league appearances, with only 23 of those as a starter, a far cry from Xavi's record-breaking dominance in Barcelona's top-choice lineup. After not playing a single minute in their 17-18 campaign, Turan was shipped out on loan to Turkish side Istanbul Başakşehir, where things haven't got much better. In May 2018, the 31-year-old was sent off in a game against Sivasspor for pushing the assistant referee, and he is still serving the ban. 3. Batshuayi replaces Aubameyang. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang spent 4.5 seasons with Borussia Dortmund, where he developed into a world-class striker, beating Robert Lewandowski by scoring 141 goals in 213 games. In January 2018, when he signed for Arsenal for £56 million, Aubameyang left the Westfalenstadion as the 3rd highest scorer in their history, just 20 goals off the club's all-time record. It was widely known that the Gabonese international was unhappy in Germany, and he had been using dirty tricks to try and force a move, including skipping a meeting on Team Spirit to earn his 3rd ban for bad behaviour in 2 seasons. Even though the Dortmund fans were happy to see the back of the 29-year-old booing his every touch during his final game for the Black and Yellows, his replacement was a definite downgrade. Batshuayi moved from Chelsea to Germany on loan to fill the space, and the batsman got off to a flying start, scoring twice and adding an assist on his debut, the first player to do so since Aubameyang himself. Unfortunately for the Blues forward, he didn't continue in the same vein, scoring just 7 times before an injury ruled him out for the remainder of the season. 2. Dembele replaces Neymar. Neymar shocked the world when he opted to leave the most lethal front 3 in world football and joined PSG last year for a world record €222 million, smashing the previous record by a massive €122 million. It was a risk for Neymar. He was leaving behind a team of Messi, Suarez and Iniesta that had won 8 trophies over his 4 seasons, including 2 La Ligas and a Champions League, for a club that had never progressed past the Champions League quarter-finals. But for Barcelona, they needed a high-quality replacement and plumped for Borussia Dortmund's 20-year-old forward Ousmane Dembele. The fee, which could potentially rise to €150 million, made Dembele, who had only played 2 seasons of top-division football for Rennes and then Dortmund, the 2nd most expensive player of all time. Having been involved in 0.6 goals per league game over the previous 2 campaigns, big things were expected of Dembele, but his body let him down, with 2 different injuries seeing him miss 27 games across the season. And although Barcelona romped to a League and Copa del Rey double, you can't help but think that the 16-capped World Cup winner would have helped in their Champions League campaign, which came to an end in the quarter-finals. Having played a minor role in Barcelona's League and Cup double and France's victorious World Cup campaign, big things are expected of Dembele this term. 1. Bale replaces Ronaldo. The biggest transfer to happen in the summer of 2018 was undoubtedly Cristiano Ronaldo's surprise move to Juventus for €112 million. The departure of Ronaldo and Zidane in one window has left Lopetegui with some big boots to fill himself and some gaps to sort out on the field, and the new era has started with Gareth Bale as Real's talisman. While he showed a lot of promise in the Champions League final as super sub in Ronaldo's last ever game for Los Blancos, the question remains as to whether he can match the consistency of Ronaldo and his 400 Real Madrid goals. Replacing one of the all-time footballing greats was never going to be an easy task, and without a marquee signing to appease the terraces, the pressure is even more on the Welshman. Last season, Bale played in 26 La Liga games, scored 16 and assisted 2. A fair output, but nothing close to the 31 direct goal contributions CR7 managed in the same number of games. Since Ronaldo joined La Liga, he has scored above 20 goals in every season, 25, 26, 38 and 48 in the last 4 campaigns. In contrast, Bale has failed to break the 20 mark since moving to Spain in 2013. So if he is meant to make up the total Ronaldo has been contributing, then it doesn't look like he'll be able to stomp up the same numbers, leaving Real a bit goal shy this season without their famous number 7. However, definitely up for a challenge, Bale will be hoping that he can stay injury-free with all eyes on him this season. So that was 10 of the biggest downgrades in football. What did you guys think of the list? Why don't you let me know in the comments down below? And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you go check out all the other great content on EuroFootball Daily, Stat Wars the Champions, Continental Club and much, much more. And as ever, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.